there's so many things to
Totally.
it that I'm like, Clayton is not the guy. He's not the man that's going to assert himself. He's not the one that's going to have really strong
Completely agree.
values. Hi, this is Julie and Kelly, and we're here to find love. We're two dating coaches going deep on frothy shit. In particular, Clayton's Bachelor season episode 5. So we are going to split this up into 2 videos because we had a lot to say about what we saw last night. This first video is going to be all about Shanae and our, I don't want to say criticisms, our analysis on Clayton's season so far and how he's showing up as the Bachelor. It will kind of be like a retrospective on how he's doing because he has been moving a little bit sideways lately. So we're going to get right into it, this video. Subscribe, leave any comments down below on what you think about this conversation, and we'll get right into it.
Episode 1, we were talking about Cassidy, and now we've just been talking about Shanae for 4 episodes. So I feel very exhausted by it, and I think clearly the girls in the house are also exhausted by it. It just feels like half of their journey on this TV show and on The Bachelor has been talking about and navigating the Shanae thing. So I feel really bad for everyone. Julie, what do you think about everything that went down? We saw Shanae kind of have to deal with the repercussions of her actions, but only sort of, because Clayton was just like, can you apologize? And so she lied through her teeth, gave an Oscar-winning performance, crying to the girls, apologizing, said to the camera that she didn't feel sorry whatsoever, and then got a rose and moved on from the rose ceremony. So, I mean, Julie, what do you think about how that all went down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if she gave, like, this Oscar-winning performance. I just think she did the absolute bare minimum. She was like, I will just apologize, and not even in a convincing way. Like, when I saw her walk up with those tears on her face, her eyes weren't even red. I was like, where did the liquid come from on your face? She did it, like, with such little effort. And I felt like the girls just kind of, like, took the apology because they were saying that's all they really wanted, when that's not true. They, like, wanted her to really leave the house. And I wish that they kind of made that request more known to Clayton. Like, she is actually making this experience really negative to be in. So I think for everyone, you should send her home. Instead, they were just kind of, like, making it seem like they wanted the apology. So Clayton was like, I'll give you the apology. She gave the apology, and then they just started making out. And I just knew from that point that Clayton was, he was kind of just not really paying attention to anything really happening.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point, that the girls were not, they made it sound like they wanted just an apology when what they really wanted was for her to leave. And, it was interesting listening to the way they were all talking about the apology, because some people were saying things that were like, everyone deserves to, get a second chance. Everyone deserves to, own up to their actions and, show that they can change their behavior, right? So some of the girls were saying that, and then some of the girls were reasonably skeptical and were kind of like, this seemed like a fake apology. This didn't seem real, right? And then some of the girls were like, apologizing isn't enough. You also need to face consequences, right? And it's interesting. It begs an interesting question, which is just, what is someone supposed to do when they've wronged a group? And clearly, Shanae's apology did not feel like fully satisfied how upset the girls were. And I think a good learning here is that it's not just about saying you're sorry. It's also about, what do you do to help the people who were wronged feel like justice has been served, or feel like, the situation has been amended. And, just saying words isn't always enough, right? And I think that's what this situation really indicated. Like, I think the girls who were, like, accepting her apology, too, were the people who were, like, least affected by the situation, right? It was, like, Rachel and Susie were like, oh, we forgive you.
I just kept thinking the entire time, oh my gosh, for Clayton not to have a zero tolerance policy towards bullying, that is a huge red flag from Clayton. For him to be like, it's okay that you can have bad behavior. It is okay that you can have bad behavior, but you don't have to tolerate it. You don't need to accept it. Like, if someone is purposely going out of the way and admitting that they are treating people poorly in the house, that so many people keep coming up to you, it doesn't really matter how amazing this connection is that you have with this person.
Right.
Like, it's affecting the house, and that's a part of being the Bachelor. Like, you have to create a good experience for everybody else too, because you only do pick one. So like, do you have like pro-social behaviors that exhibit that you can really like take care of your people? He doesn't take care of his people. And I was just like, ugh, just watching it, I just knew that she was going to get chosen. I knew those girls were going to get sent home.
What you said about the fact that it is messing with the house and Clayton should be thinking about that. I mean, I think of that not like from a pro-social perspective, like absolutely. Can you please just like not be a jerk and make sure people are not like miserable? Just, I think people should just be like that in general. And from a selfish perspective for Clayton, he should realize that like if he keeps choosing Shanae, right, to the dismay of everyone else in the house, he's essentially making everyone else in the house lose faith in him and like him less, right? And it's like, you better be pretty sure about Shanae
like
for you to, for you to risk your connection with all of these other women just to keep her around and keep, making out with her, right? And it's like, it's different from like, I think like several people brought up problems with Nate throughout Michelle's season, right? But Michelle liked Nate a lot, and her choosing to keep Nate in spite of what other people were saying about Nate. And first of all, Nate didn't even really do anything wrong. Everyone was just like upset with him.
He was just like Adonis. Yeah, they were
right, exactly. And people were just like upset. But anyways, all of that aside, what I was going to say is that Michelle choosing to keep Nate around is very different from Clayton choosing to keep Shanae around in spite of what the house is saying. Because it's like, he actually hasn't had a one-on-one with Shanae. They haven't really talked about anything other than her having to defend herself. Mm-hmm. It's really just like, oh, I think she's hot and I want to keep, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the only thing that has happened between them really in any meaningful way. And they've just continued to talk about the drama. So it's not even like he has this deep connection with her that's being called into question. It's like, how deep is your connection to her that it is worth keeping her in comparison to all of these other girls? You heard Susie on one of her little asides to the other girls. Susie was like, listen, if he keeps her, I'm going to start questioning my relationship with him. I think all of us are going to start questioning our relationships with him if he really is going to be the kind of guy who keeps a girl like Shanae around, right? And like, that's the thing that he should be thinking about. It's not just about, I need to follow my heart, I'm going to keep Shanae around. It's like, if you keep her around, you are essentially sabotaging your relationship with all these other women. And like, is that worth it? That's something you need to be thinking about as a bachelor, as someone who is, dating 30 women at the same time, right? And you want to maximize your odds of finding your person. And you're not maximizing your odds by keeping Shanae around. You are lowering your chances that any of these women will still want to continue dating you,
Dude, such an excellent point. I totally agree with that. It's a smart way of assessing the situation, and I think this calls into question something more like maybe Clayton doesn't have a lot of connections with the women in the house, not yet, or maybe it's few and far in between, and Shanae is so in his face, and I think that there's a part of him that is just kind of like responding from like an animalistic thing of like, here is this very attractive blonde woman that just keeps coming up to me, that keeps telling me that she likes me, keeps making out with me, is going out of her way to show me that she likes me. I think when it reminds me of like when you start to like someone, it's because of proximity. The more that you see someone, the more that someone shows you that they like you kind of start to think like, maybe I like them back.
Maybe I do like them.
I think Clayton is
totally.
It's hard for me to like really see Shanae and like criticize her, because I don't even know if we're really seeing her. We're seeing this like reality TV show persona that she's putting on because she wants to be like the bad bitch,
Well, it's funny. I feel like you're almost giving her too much credit.
Do you think like, she's too smart?
I think you kind of maybe think she's smarter than she actually is. Like when she's talking into the camera and just like being like, I lied to those bitches, or I lied to Clayton, or I lied.
Turn this off. So boring.
Well, like, and that's the thing. Like, I think what you're right about is definitely she seems to have like a good relation with the producers or with the camera people who are interviewing her, because she's being so honest to them. And I almost wonder if like she kind of, in some of those interviews, she like almost like is forgetting that this is not just a confessional for the producers or a conversation with the producers, and this is not just like private diary background information. Like it's almost like she forgot that this part of it will be part of the show. Like these interviews will be part of the show. Like I almost feel like like she missed it or like she didn't quite realize what she was doing. But I don't know. I guess, or she's like completely just manipulative and is trying to be diabolical. Right, that's the right word. She's just diabolical and wants to be on it. I don't know. I can't tell which of these two things are true, but I don't know. I kind of just think that she's, or like even like the producers like haven't been clear. Like, by the way, this could be on the show when you say stuff like this. Like maybe they haven't been clear with her and she didn't realize. Like those are the things that are coming up, because she's like, it's like you have to be pretty not smart to just really like directly say some of this stuff into the camera. That's why I'm kind of like, I think she like maybe didn't know. Like that's
I think I totally see what you're saying. I think there's an element of her just like, you know, she doesn't have a good relationship with the women in the house, and so whoever her handler is, their handler is kind of like, it's great that you're being so aggressive and it doesn't really matter about those, you know, like they could kind of be like hyping up that element of like, it's great, like just focus on your connection of Clayton. That's truly all that matters. And who knows the edits that we're not seeing where she is being positive about the whole situation. So maybe there's an element of her trying to game production, and production, will always win. They're the house. Right. They're the ones that are controlling the game. So I don't know what it is, but it's boring to watch. It's malicious. She's showing off all of these qualities that are just so like disturbing to see. And it's very like, for her to be like, I just want to like kick these women out of the house and just completely disregard kindness is tough to watch. So like when the 2-on-1 didn't happen on this date, I was like, I cannot believe that she's getting exactly what she wanted. She's been the biggest figure from the season so far. She's overshadowed Clayton, I would say. She's the one that people are talking about, not Clayton.
Right. I mean, literally, next episode is episode 6. There's 10 episodes in a season.
How is he going to fall in love with 3 people? I truly don't understand it.
I know. There's 10 episodes in a season. One of those episodes is Women Tell All. So there's like
and that's
basically
gonna be about
3
her.
more. Right. So there's basically 3 more episodes that we're going to get to see Clayton's love story, you know, that don't have to do with Shanae. And it's like, what happened here? Look, why did production think that this is what we wanted to see? Like, it's just, I just don't know, you know? I feel like this could have been like a background thing that happened, and then they like kind of sent her home and not had this been such a huge storyline on the show, but like instead it feels like it's been amped up so much, and I'm like, I'm bored. Please.
I felt the same way. Like whenever she was on TV, I was like, this is boring. It's not even funny. Yeah. Like if she was being like a funny villain, like a little bit tropey, that would be a little bit more bearable to watch. She is literally unbearable to watch. Like seeing her just be so mean. Like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to invite this energy onto the TV shows I'm watching.
Exactly. It's so different from villains like Demi or from Victoria, Queen Victoria, right? Like they were also mean on their seasons, and so I didn't like them, but I didn't hate them as much as Shanae, because the two of them, you know, in theory, were just like kind of, you can tell they're just trying to be funny and trying to be interesting. In comparison to Shanae, it's like, you're just trying to be mean for no reason. What's happening? Like, you know, it's just like, this is a lot of television about one mean blonde
mean
chick.
person.
Like,
yes,
you know?
I totally agree.
You compare the way that Katie and Michelle responded to realizing that there were people who were causing drama or like being mean to people in the house. Like the way Katie and Michelle responded, they're like, oh, okay, you're being shady. Bye. Like no amount of physical attraction to you is gonna make me want to keep you around, right?
Yes.
Jamie, gone.
Yes.
What was that other? Thomas, gone. You know, like Chris S, gone. You know, like they were just very quick to send home these like guys who were just like being jerks to the other guys in the house, right? They really knew how to just like send those people off. But then you got people like Clayton who are like the jerks on his season. They're hot. So he's like, oh, I don't have to send home Cassidy, do I? Oh, I don't have to send home Shanae, do I? And it's like, it's kind of like there's like a confusing like physical attraction with like meaningful connection is happening here. And like there's an inability to look long-term. And long-term is, well, can I have a long-term relationship with this person? Is this person someone that I could be in a relationship with, you know, in theory forever, right? They're gonna get engaged at the end of this. In theory, they want to get married. Like, is this someone that I could be with forever, considering the way that they are behaving in this house, the way they interact with other people? And it's like, I feel like Katie and Michelle, these other leads have been able to really think about that question and be like, this has broken my trust and I just can't start a relationship like this, or I just can't be with someone who like has such trouble getting along with other men in the house, or I can't be with someone who would be so aggressive with other people. Clayton is just like, I see that you threw a trophy, but you said sorry, so who cares? Like, it's like you're not thinking about this long term. It's like, and she goes, it was out of my character. That wasn't me. It's like, bitch, who was it? If it wasn't you, I like, you know, like what do you mean it wasn't you? I saw you holding the trophy. I saw you throwing the trophy. So I don't know what you're saying. It wasn't you. And so I just think that Clayton is not thinking about it. Like, he's not thinking about it in that long-term way. He's just so like, I like being around Shanae.
Right.
She's pretty. Let me keep her around. So right. You know?
He's like, I think his season has been very surface level. Like, it's about the trophy. It's not about the fact that she was name-calling people, that she crashed the date, that she disregarded boundaries. Mm-hmm. It's, she apologized, but she did it without, like when she kind of came back in, she had a smile on her face after she apologized to the woman. And she was like, I did it. Like, cross it off your list. Now we can, you know, maybe be together. There's so much that he's not reading, and I think that's how he's choosing to engage with the conflicts and what's happening on the show. Like, I got the sense when he was talking to the woman, the people that won the group date, the last episode, like, tell me about what's happening with Shanae. It wasn't like, I want to get to the bottom of this, because if Shanae is doing this, it's likely that in conflict, she's going to show up that way for me. He was doing it because he knew he had to address it, and I could tell that, like, when they were kind of talking about it, he wasn't taking it so seriously. He was like, this kind of seems, he's like, this is kind of like house drama. Like, why am I involved in it? I want to just make out with girls. I want to see my connection of girls. Like, that's what he cares about more. And because he centers his experience above the other girls, it shows up. So I'm just seeing, like, I don't want to say red flags, but just a lot of things that make him less eligible as a person that you want to be in a relationship with, if they especially want marriage. Totally. There are so many things to it that I'm like, Clayton is not the guy. He's not the man that's going to assert himself. He's not the one that's going to have really strong values. With the house that he's building, if that's the house in The Bachelor, what's the house when he has a wife and kids? How will he manage conflict? How will he be able to show up? Like, there's so many things he's showing. If I was I don't know, I would have just been like, I'm going home. Like, I'm sending myself home.
This is very telling of Clayton's character. It's very telling of, you know, his ability to think big picture, think long term, manage a house, manage a group of people. It also shows what he prioritizes and cares about. And, to me, it just seems, I don't think that he's a bad guy. I just think that he is he just kind of like lacks the skill sets a little bit to kind of make a healthy relationship happen for himself and make a healthy, lead a healthy group dynamic. He just lacks some of those skills. And so it makes it, kind of goofy that they would have him as the Bachelor. And it's like a pretty unfortunate experience for all these women who kind of have to put up with it. So, yeah. But that wraps up this video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because we will have another conversation coming out about this episode focused on all of the front runners that are emerging. We saw a lot of girls kind of coming through from one-on-one dates and just group dates and stuff. I guess I can just say who they are. We're really excited about Rachel and Gabby in particular. So if you want to see our analysis about why we think they're such good, promising candidates on this show, make sure you subscribe and look out for our next video. But that wraps up for this one, and we will see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.